All right, so next we're going to look at the factor theorem. And essentially, the factor theorem says that x minus lambda is a factor of f of x if and only if f of lambda is equal to 0. That x minus lambda is a factor of f of x if and only if f of lambda is equal to 0. Now, essentially, the remainder theorem is basically the same thing as the factor theorem. The factor theorem is basically the same thing as the remainder theorem. Because if something is a factor, it means it goes into it without leaving a remainder. So what we're saying is this, that if f of x is divided by x minus what? Lambda, and x minus lambda is a factor, essentially what we're basically saying is that the remainder is going to be equal to 0. So if this divides into this, we are going to get, let us say, p of x plus, well, it's just going to go into it p of x because the remainder is 0. So we would be, if it's divided by it, you would expect a remainder, but if it is a factor, the remainder would be equal to what? 0. All right, so let's check this out. If I multiply the entire equation by what? X minus lambda, I'm going to get f of x is equal to p of x times x minus lambda. So all I did was I multiply the entire equation by what? X minus lambda. I think you all can understand that, but if I had to show it, I could do that easily. I have x minus lambda multiplied by f of x over x minus lambda is equal to p of x times what? X minus lambda. So in other words, I multiply the entire equation by x minus lambda. Well, this cancels over here, and we do have what? F of x is equal to p of x times x minus lambda. Now, if x is equal to lambda, I'm going to get what? F of lambda would be equal to what? P of what? Lambda, because x is lambda, multiply by lambda minus lambda. Now, lambda minus lambda would be 0. And whenever you multiply anything by lambda by 0, you're going to get 0. So f of lambda would be equal to 0. And so what we said earlier is true, that if f of x is divided by x minus lambda, or if f of x is a factor, if x minus lambda is a factor of what? F of x, meaning it can go into f of x without leaving a remainder, f of lambda is going to be equal to 0.